Are you insinuating that Luigi killed Harambe?
I've never wanted to have sex with a pot pie, but like, I'd have sex with that pot pie.
We're all weak to stepping on nails.
Let me preface this by saying I wrote a script.
Daytona Beach is like 2 mild inconveniences from being a post-apocalyptic wasteland anyway.
So many of my tabs say semen.
Are you guys ready for this weird horny adventure that we're all about to go on?
You can't handcuff me for skanking.
This motherfucker gaslights you.
Diet Coke and Sorrow will be chapter 4.
And against all odds, Kyle, we became those swirly weirdos.
This whole podcast is a very negative mouthfeel.
I had recently spawned a new world in single-player Minecraft. Everything was normal at first as I began chopping down trees and crafting a workbench. I noticed something move against the dense fog. I have a very slow computer, so I have to play with a tiny render distance. I thought it was a cow, so I chased after it, hoping to grab some hides for armor. It wasn't a cow, though. Looking back at me through the fog was another character with the default skin, but his eyes were empty. I saw no name pop up, and I double-checked to make sure I wasn't in multiplayer mode. He didn't stay long. He looked at me and quickly ran into the fog. I chased out of curiosity, but he was gone. I continued on with the game, not sure what to think. As I expanded to the world, I saw things that seemed out of place for the random map generator to make. 2x2 tunnels in the rocks, small perfect pyramids made of sand in the ocean, and groves of trees, all with their leaves cut off. I would constantly think I saw the other player in the deep fog, but I never got a better look at him. I tried increasing my render distance to far enough whenever I thought I saw him, but to no avail. I saved the map and went on to the forums to see if anyone else had found the pseudo player. There were none. I created my own topic telling of the man and asked if anyone had a similar experience. The post was deleted within 5 minutes. I tried again and the topic was deleted even faster. I received a personal message from username Herobrine containing one word: stop. When I went to look at Herobrine's profile, the page 404'd. I received an email from another forum user. He claimed the mods can read the forum user messages, so we were safer using email. The emailer claimed that he had seen the mystery player too, and had a small directory of other players who had seen him as well. Their worlds were littered with obviously man-made features as well, and described their mystery player to have no pupils. About a month had passed until I had heard from my informant again. Some of the people who had encountered the mystery man had looked into the name Herobrine and found that the name to be frequently used by a Swedish gamer. After some further information gathering, it was revealed to be the brother of Notch, the game's developer. I personally emailed Notch and asked him if he had a brother. It took him a while, but he emailed me back a very short message. I did, but he is no longer with us. Notch. I haven't seen the mystery man since our first encounter, and I haven't noticed any changes to the world other than my own. I was able to press print screen when I first saw him, and here is the only evidence of his existence. And let me drop that image into our notes.
Is this what Minecraft looks like? I've never done a Minecraft before. I don't see anything out of the ordinary here.
It's kind of it's hard to see it, I think, but it's just a nondescript shape that kind of looks like a cow, but also looks like a ghost in the foreground, in a very foggy Minecraft world.
How can it scream like a man when it is only a cow?
Hello and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this show, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comic books, video games, and how Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just released your sales lead's newest favorite rap song.
What is this?
Huh?
Am I the only one who knows of this? The Rock released a rap a rap song,
Oh.
and it's
Oh,
hot.
no.
It's hot, stinky garbage. It's like hot, stinky,
Well, of
like
course it is. It's The Rock.
Does he
pump
not
up
have
garbage.
No, he has so much money.
Wait, I
Yeah,
want
hasn't he
to.
done enough?
In lieu of my creepypasta, can I just read the lyrics to Dwayne The Rock Johnson's new rap song?
It's just as terrifying. It's
I submit to the Midnight Society, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's rap.
Oh, it's with Tech 9? Oh, no.
Anyway, Kyle, what are we doing today?
Yeah.
So, guys, one of my favorite things about being in our 4th season of Debate This is that we've now established a decent number of traditions. Some traditions are fun, like our annual non-denominational winter celebration third-party video game peripheral exchange, and some traditions are frustrating, like our New Year's tradition of plotting out an entire year of content, only to have the whole thing derailed by content delays. Which
is
just-
extra salient today. Since Marvel just pushed everything back 2 to 3 months.
Yep. But one of our more understated traditions is actually my favorite, which we'll be continuing today. If you couldn't tell from the top of the episode, the tradition I'm talking about is the Spooktacular Express's annual stop at the Creepypasta Depot. For those of you uninitiated to this odd corner of the internet, creepypastas date back to the early days of mass internet and are short horror stories written for forum pages, image boards, and Tumblr blogs. They typically follow a found footage format or first-person account that lend them an air of believability before they inevitably veer wildly into edgelord territory in the third act. If you finish a story that reads like a Hot Topic employee's submission to scary stories to tell in the dark, then you have found a creepypasta. They are spoopy and weird, and I love them.
I know you said you loved them, but you kind of formed the kicking circle around creepypastas there for a minute.
Yeah.
That's why I love them, Matt.
He loves saying
I love the camp.
Yeah, I mean, a Hot Topic employee submission to scary stories to tell in the dark is the most accurate description of creepypasta I've ever heard.
So today, Matt Inky Cole, Todd Blinky Thomas, and Andrew Pinky Henderson have each brought a creepypasta to spook the socks off ya.
Well, that was good.
Oh, I like that. Yeah,
That was good.
Yeah, little rhyme there.
nice. We're doing the Pac-Man ghosts and everything. I got the middle name bit down. Good day.
Good day. So, Matt, why don't you take us off on our next creepypasta journey?
Oh, Kyle, I would love to. This might be the dumbest creepypasta I've ever read. If it's not, it's
God,
up
I
there.
can't wait.
Certainly up there. The creepypasta that I will be doing a dramatic reading of this year, I thought for a long time was called Abandoned, and it's not. It's Abaddon. Abaddon Tenebrae.
Because it's never mind.
My brain did the thing where the first letter and the last letter are correct, and it just filled in the middle. So, this is Abaddon Tenebrae, which I have found on the Creepypasta Wiki. A brief scroll does not give me an author. It says original author unknown. So, yeah, I'm going to read everything on the page as written. Feel free to laugh along with me. It's pretty silly.
We should say before we dive in, while you can still find creepypastas in the wild, most of these are likely coming from a wiki of some sort, a collection of classic creepypastas. These are not new creations, but some classics.
Yeah, if you're ever hunting for creepypastas, creepypasta.fandom.com. Great place to check.
Wait, did everyone else also get theirs from there? Because that's
I couldn't because the ads on that were so heinous that I literally couldn't read anything on that site.
You gotta run an ad blocker, dude.
Well, I'm using my work computer, and my work computer, it doesn't have an ad blocker, but it has like a you can't go to this URL. So I just had 7 spots where it was like, this URL is blocked. This URL is blocked.
Yeah, that's scarier than any creepypasta we'll hear today.
Yeah.
All right, well, without further ado, let me launch in here to Abaddon Tenebrae. I'm not crazy. I know I have said it a million times. To my doctors, to my parents, to my friends, but I have to keep saying it until I'm sure that nobody will help me. In this moment, I'm in a cell with soft walls. Everything is light green. The bed and its sheets, the doors, there isn't any other furniture. If I have to go to the bathroom, I have to call a nurse. Way over my head, there is a small window where sunlight enters, and sometimes the sound of the streets. Besides that, I'm alone. Very alone. My parents don't come as often to see me. My friends are the same story. I'm writing this with a pencil Dr. Garcia forgot. I hid it under my pillow. It also took me a few days to gather 6 napkins where I'll write my story. When I'm done, I'll fling them through the window. You, whoever you are, dear reader, will pick them up, put them in order, read them carefully, and if you decide to believe me, you'll help me. You'll be kind enough to come to the hospital, talk to the doctors, and tell them I didn't invent a thing, that the game exists and that I must finish it, or in a few days they'll have to bury my empty and punished body. Everything started the afternoon my friend Humphrey obtained a CD with a game called Abaddon 1. How did he get it?
Are you sure you're not just reading Dwayne The Rock Johnson's rap?
Matt, we scrapped the rock bit. This is different.
This is the same level of quality, but here we go.
Wait, can we wait time out?
All right,
Since
go
we're
ahead.
bringing up The Rock in this, can we make the joke that Abaddon is Hebrew for Doom, and The Rock was in the movie Doom, and now we've gone full circle in a weird thing we didn't intend to do?
So the
I think you
monster
just
of
did
this
that, Todd.
creepypasta is Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might
Well,
Specifically, Dwayne The Rock Johnson playing Doom Guy, yeah.
I think, no, Dwayne The Rock Johnson turns into Pinky. He doesn't become Doom Guy. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Not the ghost Pinky, the monster. You know what, Matt? Why don't you keep going?
Astronaut meme with another astronaut behind an astronaut saying it's all Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It always has.
Always has been.
All right. Anyway, everything started the afternoon. My friend Humphrey obtained a CD with a game called Abaddon 1. How did he get it? It is a mystery for me. He said that it was among pirated copies of some DVDs his sister bought, although the CD of the game was original. The point is that when I played it for the first time, my life changed for the worst.
I just want to imagine Abaddon 1 as Doom, but it's all like Jewish themed. It's all in Hebrew and like. Go on.
Gerard, you have to see this, Humphrey had called me. What is it? A new game. It is I can't even explain it. I'm doing my homework. Tell me what it is about or I won't go. Then don't come. I should have done that. I should have finished my homework. After a few minutes trying to concentrate, I gave up, grabbed my jacket, and got to his house at the other end of the street. What is it about? I asked when I sat with him in front of the computer. He didn't even need to explain. What I saw was stunning. End of first napkin. The screen of the computer showed our street. Everything was on fire. The houses, the cars, the gardens, everything was exactly as the real street. Hundreds of black demons were flying over the destruction. There was many corpses on the pavement. I even recognized some of my neighbors among them. But how did you? I tried to ask. Don't ask me. Humphrey was trying to kill demons using the space bar of his keyboard. He moved the shotgun left and right with the arrow keys and fired blue rays. The demons were disappearing, yes, but many others keep appearing on the sky. They were like furious gargoyles. Humphrey got out of our street and continued to kill demons in front of a supermarket. Then the clouds opened and a new demon appeared. This time it was red and humongous. This is the bad guy of this level, he said. It is a tough boss. I saw Humphrey fighting until he lost all his lives and the known words appeared. Game over. This is awesome, I said. Why is it so real? I don't know. I just wrote my name and my birth date. I took the keyboard with the mouse. I clicked on new game. Then effectively, there was a space to write the full name. I did it and pressed next. It asked me for my birth date. I wrote it and the game processed the information. Finally, the loading bar disappeared and a new image appeared, this time of a sheet of parchment with an elegant calligraphy. Gerard Manrique, United States of America, Tennessee, Nashville, Libra with Pisces Ascendant, 4698-131. Wow, awesome, I exclaimed. Shut up and keep going. Press enter. The typical license agreement appeared. That part where it says that one shouldn't copy that software and all that stuff. Press that you agree, Humphrey indicated me. I did. The game started. It was curious that the character was standing just in front of the door of my house. This is really awesome. A demon appeared, flying over me, and I shot it. Then another, and another. The best thing is that one felt the urge of killing them. Our neighbor Lillian entered the screen with her bike. A demon went towards her, and I killed it. But then more and more approached until I couldn't save her. Poor Lillian, calcinated in the middle of the street. It didn't take long before I died. It took like 5 minutes, but it still was an excellent game. The best scores appeared. Humphrey Gordon, 4604-7 in the first places. Gerard Manson, 4698-131, almost last. What are those numbers? I don't know. I guess the game invents them. This is like Google Earth, like watching your house from space, isn't it? Yes, I think they used that map to make a copy of every street of the world. Pretty cool, huh? My palms were sweating. This was by far the best game I had ever played. Humphrey had a hunch of what I was thinking in that moment. The math exam, he suddenly said. What? I made a copy of the game for you, but its price is the math exam. You'll give me your answers. Deal. After I exited his house, there was only one thing that centered my attention. Lillian was with her bike. I had goosebumps as she was in the exact same place where in the game the demons had attacked and turned her into ashes. It was nice to see her alive and playing. End of second napkin.
He got a lot more real estate out of that second napkin.
Yeah, all the
napkin.
napkins are different lengths.
I want to make a note before I forget. I really like that the writer compared the imagery of a gargoyle to a demon. In that, I don't know what a demon. In case you don't know what a demon looks like, it looks like a gargoyle.
Apparently.
Right? So helpful.
I just want to express my pride that we all restrained ourselves from saying "mom's spaghetti" after saying knees are weak after Matt said my palms were sweaty.
Yeah, that was.
I saw it. It all flashed across our faces. And
I'm
we
really
didn't do it.
impressed. All right, are you guys ready for the third napkin?
Please.
I'm always ready for the third napkin, Matt.
I always need the third napkin.
I immediately inserted the disc in my computer, and although the game asked for information again, the license agreement didn't appear. I didn't care about that. I played until near midnight because I still couldn't believe how good it was. I had explored every place of the neighborhood. I even entered my school and shot the demons from there. The red demon always appeared and I always fought him, but I lost every time. Gerard, you better not be playing. Mom's voice made me finally turn off the computer and go to sleep. The next day after school, I played again, and the situation repeated every day until the weekend. The problem is that I couldn't kill the red demon with anything, not even locking myself in my room for the whole Saturday and Sunday. I started to suspect that the game only had one level. Monday, I told that to Humphrey once I saw him in the school. I don't play it anymore. I got bored of it, he said. Besides, I have been feeling sick lately and the computer gives me headaches. I was disappointed. It wasn't a common game and Humphrey was my only friend. I had to play it by myself, but there was something more I wanted to ask him. Lend me the original disc. Why? He said, holding his belly and looking to the sights with anguish. It seemed like something in the environment caused him fear. I want to find information on the internet. I can't defeat the devil and I'm desperate. It has been a whole week and I can't get past it. In the afternoon, I went to his house for the disc. My friend was really sick. He had a fever and his eyes were bloodshot. You should go to the hospital, I told him. I did, but the doctor said that I'll be fine soon because I'm not sick. He gave me the disc and left me alone. The truth is that there wasn't much on the disc. It had Abaddon 1 on top, Tenebrae on the bottom, and a sequence of numbers and letters in the middle. 4QRTPP. No trademark or creator. I started to feel that there was something wrong. In Google, I first searched Abandon 1. there was a lot of results of a rock band. Oh, sorry, I fucked up. In Google, I first searched for Abaddon 1. God, it looks so much like Abandoned. There was a lot of results of a rock band that was called that, Abaddon. Then information about Abaddon, boss of the demons of the 7th hierarchy, also known as the Exterminator. But nothing about the game. I searched for Tenebrae, and the only thing I learned is that it is something that is used to make games where you're on the character's point of view. As a last option, I searched the letters and numbers. Nothing appeared. I went to bed thinking that soon I would get tired of that game. End of third napkin. The next day, our teacher gave us the bad news. Almost everyone cried, and I couldn't believe it. It had been in his house less than a day ago. I had so many things that he had lent me when he was young, and I never bothered to return. His Max Steel figure, some Yu-Gi-Oh cards, his marble collection. It was impossible. After school, I ran to his house, but nobody opened the door. Mom later told me that everyone had gone to the funeral. She asked me if I wanted to go, but I was too shocked. I denied the offer, and she understood. Looking for something to distract myself, I decided to play the game we had enjoyed in the last week, but it was worse in the long term. I still wasn't capable of killing the demon, so it made me sadder. Then I suddenly had the idea of searching everything in Google. Abaddon 1 Tenebrae 4QRTPP. There was only one result, a page in Romania. It had .ro at the end, that only had a line of white text over a black background, an email account. I couldn't resist anymore. I booted my email account and sent a message to that person. It was very short message. I want information of Abaddon 1. In that moment, I looked through the window. Humphrey's parents were returning to their house. They were distressed. They were dressed in black and they were crying. I felt terrible. I didn't know a 13-year-old boy could die so fast. When I returned to the computer, there wasn't any reply from the email account. I started to play other games, racing games, and Civilization. 3 days later, I played Abaddon again. Then I found a horrible detail. It was like the 4th time I started the game. In the window of Humphrey's room, in the virtual house of the game, I saw a boy's face. A sad boy that never stopped looking at me. I keep looking at the image until a demon attacked me with its fire and I died. When the game over words appeared, I closed the game. My heart was beating too fast. When Abaddon closed, a notification told me I had many unread messages. I wanted to distract myself with my messages, but it was impossible. Between 2 unread messages, there was one that came from the Romanian account. I clicked it. Now, it wasn't just about understanding the game, about defeating the demon and that stuff, but also now I had to understand what I had seen. The information is on the cross. That was the whole message, in Spanish, my mother language. I didn't understand its meaning. There were no crosses in the game unless I had underestimated the software from the beginning, and it were an adventure-type game and not just an action game. I probably had to explore more to solve some riddle to interact with other characters. I decided to try again and do the only thing that seemed logical, run towards the nearest church. I tried not to counter the demons. I focused on running. However, once I approached the church, I noted that I was constantly repelled, like if it had a force pushing me out. I waited until I was killed by the fire. Nothing else happened. I turned off the computer and looked through the windows. I observed Humphrey's window at the other side of the street. The curtains didn't move. His bed was spotless. I went to sleep, but during that week I had horrible nightmares, and every time I woke up of them, I couldn't avoid running to the window and look at the other side of the street. I was sure I would see the eyes of a sad boy that used to be my partner in football games and video games. End of 4th napkin.
Oh man, Napkin 4 really turned up the creepypasta knob.
Yeah, man, Napkin 4 was used to sop up all the horror.
I have a clarifying question.
Yeah, go for it.
Did the story skip Humphrey dying, or did I miss it? Because I remember you saying it was weird that it happened, but I never remember you saying what happened.
No, that is how
Sick.
he tells us Humphrey died was
Yeah,
the beginning of napkin 4. Yep.
Yeah, and he was surprised that a 15-year-old could die so fast.
A 13-year-old.
13-year-old, that's even faster.
Yeah. A few days later, my parents noted that something wasn't right. "What is Regnet Abaddon?" Mom asked after dinner. "Why?" I asked, fearful. I didn't even know what that meant. "Because you have yelled that several times in your dreams, son. Did you see any scary movie recently, or is it related to Humphrey?" I didn't know what to say, but I noticed I couldn't let this pass. I went to my room and broke the original disc. Then I did the same with my copy, and when I was about to uninstall the game from my computer, I understood. I started the game. I couldn't avoid looking at my friend's house in the screen. His face seemed like he wanted to say something from afar, but it was obvious that it was impossible. The demons started their attack, and I did the only thing I knew I had never done before. I opened the door behind me and entered my house. I was scared. Everything inside the house was identical to my real life house. It was even dark, so I walked through the hallway to the stairs. I noted that behind the door of my room, somebody was playing with the computer. As you may imagine, I decided not to enter, and I, in the real life, decided not to look towards the door. Then, inside the game, I went to the only cross in my house, one there is in my parents' room. There, in front of it, the secret was revealed. Bright blue letters was floating in front of it. The first number is the distance from the darkness to the day of the contract. The second number is the day from the day of the contract to the darkness. When Abaddon is defeated, the original date is returned. That was all. I stared at the message for such a long time, trying to figure out its meaning, that I almost didn't see the bow under the cross. A shiny blue bow with only one arrow. I knew that with that arrow, I could defeat Abaddon. I looked at the clock and the computer. It was half hour past midnight. How did I spend so long on this? What contract? What was that about the darkness? I left the computer and ran towards my parents' room. They were sleeping. There wasn't anything under the cross, nor any words hovering over it. I started crying. "Son, are you okay?" Mom asked. She had awoken. "Yes, Mom. I had another bad dream." End of 5th napkin.
Oof.
Can we address the sentence, "The second number is the day from the day of the contract to the darkness"? Because I once you read it, I pulled up the creepypasta just to read it myself, and I think I'm having a stroke.
Right? Because I read it and you were like, there's no way he said that correctly.
I think Gerard had a stroke when he was writing the 5th napkin.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I think Gerard speaks English as a second language.
Yes. I
Reading
think that
this
is,
word for word is taking all of my mental power.
You're doing so well.
Yeah, no,
You're doing
you.
so well. Well, I feel like we need to put like a big like SIC.
Yeah.
All right. Final napkin. Here we go. I returned to my room, but heard my parents' conversation, clearly worried. In the screen, one of the demons had entered the house, killed me, and destroyed the bright bow. "Game over," the red letters over the black background announced. The next day, I didn't want to go to school. I told Mom I didn't feel well. I spent the day entering to the game and returning to the cross. The bow wasn't around, nor was Humphrey's face. The demons kept attacking me as a routine. I didn't feel like defending. Very upset, I messaged the email account from Romania. I only got a reply when, in my query, I added the words the game had given me. Libra with a Pisces ascendant, 4698-131. "You're so young, Libra," the owner of the account replied in the first message. "How did you know that? I'm almost 14, I responded. "The first number separates you from the first darkness. That means the number of days since your birth," it replied in the second message. I almost faint. It wasn't hard to suppose what the second number meant. Humphrey had obtained a 7. I felt like crying. "What is the contract?" I asked. "The starting clauses when you played for the first time. Didn't you read them? You liberated your original date for the one Abaddon would give you. My original date? The day of your death. Abaddon chooses another one to give some emotion to the game. When you defeat the exterminator, he gives you back your original date, and then the game is over. You're lucky, Libra. Not everyone has 131 days to defeat him. The demon entered through the window. It didn't attack me with fire. It just started to torment me, crawling on my back and hurting me with its claws and teeth. My screams alarmed my mother. Gerard, what is happening? Where does it hurt? The next day I was brought here to this hospital room, where at least the demons aren't tormenting me. They only fly through the sky with their eyes on me. Sometimes, just sometimes, they peek through the window. I'm running short. If you think it is worth it, dear reader, made whatever you can so I'm allowed to go back to the game and finish Abaddon. I know there is some other cross with the bright bow so I can end it. I'm scared, I'm tired, and I feel so alone. End of 6th napkin. Now there's a PS in italics under the story. There was a group of 6 napkins found in the gardens of the Child Psychiatric Hospital and given by Dr. George Garcia Specialis to the parents of Gerard Manrique, a few days after his death. Notes: the existence of the game was never confirmed. The only known detail of the story is a strange conversation between the minor and a stranger in Romania via email. The parents, about this fact, remarked that they ignored their son could write and read antique Latin. Original author unknown.
Whew. All right.
Wow.
So many good twists and turns.
Uh-huh.
There was
A
a
real
bow
roller
and an
coaster.
arrow, but then there wasn't a bow and arrow. And then
Well,
they
the
couldn't
demons
find
broke the bow and arrow, Todd.
And are the
What?
demons in real life or not real life?
Yes.
It's unclear. It's
It is
unclear.
unclear.
I have to say, I'm really surprised because I definitely expected if you die in the game, you die in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And this wasn't that.
No.
This wasn't that.
It's not that. In fact, it is if you don't win the game, you die in real life.
Which is not that much different, but still different enough.
Similar, but
Yeah.
different.
Arguably better. Okay.
Different. I would watch it. I would watch this movie starring Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler is Gerard Manrique. Who would you
Gerard,
cast?
present day
opposite-
Gerard Butler playing a 13-year-old boy.
Who
Yeah.
would you cast as Humphrey? Humphrey Bogart is
Id-
dead, and he's the only
Idris
famous
Elba.
Humphrey I know.
No. Who played who was the guy that played the bad guy in Pirates of the Caribbean? Jeffrey Rush.
Oh boy. Well, that's Abaddon Tenebrae. I was really enthralled by the 6 napkin construction of this story.
Yeah.
It
The
was really
sick-
good.
I like that he knew it was going to take 6 napkins at the beginning, too. Like,
Well, I love that it was found and then given to the parents 3 days after the child's death, and like
yeah.
there wasn't any further like development on the napkins.
That's
Like,
it.
well, this is the only bit of only clue we have to what happened. It's been 72 hours. You can have them. We're good.
Which, I mean, if it was really 131 days, it means he was in that psych ward for like 4 months, and nobody helped him.
Nope.
Yeah.
Or he was playing the game for a while, slowly getting worse and worse. The timeline is iffy on how long he played before
It's
going to
unclear.
the psych ward.
Yeah, the story is incredibly timey-wimey.
That was so good. That's such a good,
That was
it's
that
got
was
all
very
the
good.
tenets of a good creepypasta.
Yeah.
The I think the biggest criteria above all of these is that they have to finish with a real fizzle.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
If every creepypasta doesn't end with like a weak wet shart of a storyline, a creepypasta it is not.
Yeah. Then it's just actual creative writing.
With that,
boy.
we are going to take a quick break, and we'll come back to hear Todd and Andrew's creepypastas for this year. Todd, why don't you tease us a little bit and give us the title of your creepypasta?
I'll give you just a hair more than that. So the title is The Negative Zone, and for this year, I decided to give you a little bit of creepypasta video game theory. So it's a theory that could be very real.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. We will be right back after this break to hear the negative zone then. Hi, everyone. Kyle here to remind you of our Patreon and just to give you a quick rundown of what joining our Patreon will get you at each tier. So for $5 a month, you'll become a card-carrying member of #ButtThwompNation, which includes access to exclusive Debate This premium feed featuring our D&D Real Play podcast, The Office Drones. Members of Buttthwomp Nation will also get access to our private Discord server, where we talk about what we are playing and watching, or share cursed memes curated from the deeper recesses of the internet. For $10 a month, you'll unlock extended podcast episodes, behind-the-scenes content, and access to community events like movie night watch-alongs. Ever wonder what watching the Nick Cage Ghost Rider over nonstop commentary by Matt would be like? Well, now you don't have to wonder anymore. And if you really want to spread the Debate This love, you can join our $25 monthly tier to commission your very own flavor text. Anyone that stays at this tier for 3 months will be eligible to dictate our next lore deep dive. You want a book report on the deeper story behind 7-Up's cool spot? Great. How about a dramatic reading of Sonic fanfiction? Also great, and a little gross. And for the rest of the month of October, if you become a new patron or move up a tier, you will receive a special spooky Debate This sticker to help sweeten the deal. And now, back to the show.
I had been trying to beat All-Star Mode with every character in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and it was finally Luigi's turn. I never really picked him much, since I figured he was just Mario with slightly different and more awkward-looking moveset. He did silly stuff like blindly running while slapping the air in front of him, and I wasn't even sure what his final smash did, if anything at all. To my surprise, though, he wasn't bad at all to play with, and I actually liked him more than Mario. Not entirely sure why. I just had better luck with him or something. I was up to the second to last fight where you fight every Pokemon character in the game, and finally got a Smash Ball. I hit B near some Lucario and Ivysaur. Luigi began to glow with inverted colors and dance around while chanting some kind of gibberish. Everything inside the glow, including Lucario and Ivysaur, were also in negative color. I couldn't move Luigi from his dance, so I prepared for a beating from the two Pokemon, but to my surprise, they did not attack. Ivysaur began walking on 2 legs and taking steady damage, and Lucario began falling over and over again, getting up and falling. Well, after Luigi's dance was over, I knocked them away easily and played through the rest of the game, until I received Luigi's final Smash trophy. I was eager to see the explanation of that weird move. The trophy showed 4 Luigis in the positions of his dance. Mario was in the middle, asleep, and they were all in that reverse-colored bubble. The trophy was called Negative Zone, and this was the description: Luigi's final smash. As exotic music plays, he performs a dance befitting of a sorcerer's incantation. A barrier envelops him, negatively impacting all in his area. Random effects include getting launched, sleeping, moving in slow motion, tripping, fainting, and losing attack power. This technique is a reflection of the dark side he embraced in his brother's shadow. What? I stared at that last line. A reflection of the dark side he embraced in his brother's shadow. Luigi had a dark side? I looked into this further on the internet and gave it some thought. Luigi's been there since the very first Mario Bros., but it's always been called that, Mario Bros. Luigi's always been the second guy, the weaker or slower or more cowardly guy. Even when he's in the lead of the game, he's shown as a coward. Why does he allow Mario to take the lead? What could have happened to him to make him so easily scared? Well, while looking online, I discovered a glitch in the original Super Mario Bros. Game that is actually called Minus World, because when entering this level, the title is shown as World -1, but obviously, it could be called the Negative Zone. On NES, this takes you to an endless ocean, where the only end is losing all of your lives. But there are minus worlds up to -8, none of them ever intentionally programmed into the game, only accessible through hacking. In these levels, a player may experience all sorts of hellish sights, like multiple princesses over floating pits, and a headless Bowser that throws hammers. At the base of the screen, Koopas walk through brick platforms. The same happens when you hack the flagpole in World 8-4, although these levels have formed names. There are times when the colors are inverted or negative, as seen through Luigi's bubble. They go all the way up to 8-9, when Mario enters a black room and immediately dies due to a time's up. As I said, these levels were never coded into the game, but rather formed there. Is it just random garbage code jumbling together to make a playable game? Is this where Luigi is when he's not being played? It would explain his new trick, and that's why he's often scared, as if traumatized, forced to run this gauntlet over and over again while Mario is bathed in glory for running his far easier levels all the time. I think it's safe to say that Luigi's anger is now greater than his fear, as he's learning to further control glitches like those he was forced to live through. Negative Zone is Luigi forcing other characters to endure glitches, and he's only getting better. How much longer until Luigi graduates from glitch to full virus? And how much choice did Nintendo have when they named 2013 Year of Luigi? which Miyamoto did call 2013 Year of Luigi because that was like the 30-year anniversary of Luigi's first.
Or did he call
appearance.
it that because Luigi
made him
exited the game and made him?
Yeah.
It's the thought.
I
Thanks
won't
to
go
this-
through.
This
Well, and
Luigi Joker origin story.
yeah, so this is super real. And I'm not gonna say that Luigi caused all the bad things in 2013 because you can look at the list of bad things in 2013. But the words twerk and selfie were both put in the dictionary in 2013, and that's pretty terrible. And
You
so,
know, we all thought the darkest timeline started in 2016 when Harambe was killed, but maybe it was actually started in 2013
the
when
butterfly
Luigi,
flapped its wings.
when
Kyle,
Luigi broke free of his prison.
Are you insinuating that Luigi killed Harambe?
I'm insinuating Luigi stacked the dominoes that led to Harambe's death. Yes.
The Year of Luigi also famously was the year that Nintendo recorded the most profit loss. Like that, I think that was their worst fiscal year still to date, because that was the right
Is that
after
what, like,
on the
the-
heels of the Wii U.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I mean, 2013 was the year that Justin Bieber peed in a mop bucket, and people started to realize that he's kind of a trash person.
Hey, I found this tweet about the Negative Zone trophy that says, "Remember that time Luigi weaponized his own depression?"
2013 was the year that Anthony Weiner got the online alias Carlos Danger, and people saw pictures of his penis. All right, I'm going with that. Yeah, this was fun. I wanted to find a creepy pasta that wasn't just a creepy story, and I read this thinking it was a creepy story, and then I was like, oh, this is reflavoring for actual real things that explains, like Matt said, how Luigi weaponizes his depression.
They backcanonized it.
2013 was also the year The Rock decided he was going to someday record a rap song. So here we are.
I don't know what year The Rundown came out, but that was like his last good movie for a while.
A real butterfly effect.
That was 2003, so that was 10 years
okay.
earlier.
2013 was a garbage fire of a year, though. We can all
Yeah.
agree. Andrew, why don't you bring us home?
Man, I'm so excited to do this one, guys. I'm going to talk today about Sad Satan. Now, despite the funny name, it is not funny at all. It's actually pretty unsettling. It definitely has big Petscop energy, which I think, did we do that? Did you do that last year, or was that 2 years ago, Todd?
I think
That
it
was
was
the
2 years
first
ago.
year.
I think it was the first.
That was the first year. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
So-
think that was like 2018.
Yep, that's
That
it.
feels right.
2018. So,
Sad Satan sounds like a Digimon. Continue.
Listeners might remember Todd told the story of Petscop, which was a series of videos showing a game that was, quote, found footage and had some sinister undertones. Sad Satan is very much in the same vein in that it's a video of found footage. So this is a game that, well, we'll talk about it, may or may not exist. Sad Satan first appeared on the internet. Actually, this is a newer one too. This first appeared in the summer of 2015 when the YouTube channel Obscure Horror Corner released a video on June 25th entitled Sad Satan Deep Web Horror Game Part 1. The video was then also posted on the subreddit r/creepygaming by the YouTube channel's creator, someone who he was active in the community. I should note, Obscure Horror Corner had months and months of videos. It was basically just like a scary games let's play. The channel's creator, who is now known as Jamie, claimed that a fan sent him a link to a horror game that was found on the deep web. And this was the beginning of the footage of him playing through that game. Does everybody know what the deep web is?
Yes.
Is deep web like dark web?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you want to give a tight 30 for the listener?
A tight 30 for those that don't know. The deep web or the dark web is that thing that the news yells about all the time that's connected to drug trade and buying hitmen online. Really what the dark web is all of that, yes, but really what it is the scary negative space of the internet that internet search just search engines like Google and all that don't go to. So the the internet is just like space and it's infinite. So the deep web is everything that a search engine doesn't actually hit.
You need the exact IP address to hit the dark web. And
thank you.
Instead of typing like a term into a browser is all it is.
Exactly. And you can do so by getting programs
involved with shady characters.
By getting involved with shady characters, by finding a hitman online. Normal people can go to the deep web using system programs like Tor. It also requires like a very complicated series of not street legal systems in order to get there and remain anonymous. So I wouldn't recommend that people do it. Also, like, whatever. There's nothing to see, like, unless you want to buy a hitman. So anyway, the story behind this was this guy was sent this link that was of a game that was posted on the dark web, basically. And the link was sent using another similar aggregate, similar to Tor, a program called Onion, for what it's worth. So let's talk about the game. Now, the game itself is not so much like a legit game as much as it's just a walking simulator. There's no tasks, there's nothing to interact with. And the video, as you watch it, is just all you see is really just a person in first-person mode walking down a series of very poorly lit hallways. But that's exactly what makes Sad Satan so unsettling. The first minute or so just shows the player like walking through this kind of indecipherable area with no sound other than of your footsteps. All right, so after about a minute and a half at 1:22, we hear the garbled audio of what sounds like a child. This repeats on a loop for about 45 more seconds until we see the image fade. And then we see, or we hear, what sounds like an ice cream truck jingle cut in about a minute and a half after that, and that's track 2.
The gargling child is upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, yeah, that
does
does sound like an ice cream truck.
Like an ice cream truck, like you're trying to download an ice cream truck on like 1999 AOL though.
Yeah.
Or it's a horror movie and a phone just called your house and you picked up the phone.
An ice cream truck called your house on the phone.
Ice cream truck called your house.
The thing that kept coming back to me as I was watching these, and I'll to be honest, there are 5 of these videos, I didn't watch them all. The thing that kept coming back to me was that this is like, I think, perfectly encapsulate the feeling of what it is to have a nightmare. Because as you watch it, you don't really know what's going on, but your brain is trying to make connections, and there's nothing really there. Like, there's nothing to really grasp onto, but there's enough of an image that your brain can start to make connections and get like a sense of place. Similarly, this audio that's just like pretty much like pitched down or slowed down stock sounds doesn't really sound like anything, but with the limited amount of sight that you have and the limited amount of information you have, you start to like tell a story that, you know, it's just like, this is just like synapses firing. It's very weird. So the ice cream truck jingle is playing. What's weirder is that the ice cream truck jingle also kicks off is briefly interceded by a smash cut of this image for like a half a second that I'm copying into our Google Doc here. Bear with me.
This would be a good time to mention you can access our Google Docs by by joining the mid-tier of our Patreon, and you'll be able to see this beautiful image Andrew is uploading with your very own eyes, as opposed to the roughshod description of it you will get from us once we finally see it.
Here we go. This is a man who's wearing antlers and also is standing in a stairwell covered in other antlers on the wall.
No, I didn't need that.
Yeah,
Nope.
That's upsetting.
Do you guys remember this is a little bit niche, but do you remember the music video for Sugar We're Going Down Swingin'?
I gotta say, I don't know if I've
I
ever
don't
seen
remember the
it.
video now.
If Andrew didn't say yes, none of us are going to say
All
yes.
right, well, never mind. It looks kind of like this. This looks like that. That's all. Go ahead.
It's very much something that you would expect to see in a 90s grunge video.
Yeah, it's like late 90s, early 2000s, like weird
Yeah.
thing.
That man is actually a man from history. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he was connected to the Nazi Party in the 30s.
Oh,
Great.
good.
And
Neat.
This shows up while the trippy ice cream music is playing, right?
That's correct, Kyle.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of these like this where I think they're intended to be jump scares, but they just like pop in for like half a second. After the antler man goes away, the player now finds themselves in a different looking hallway, this time backlit with this like warm orange glow. It kind of looks like they're in like an old facility or something. They reach to be what appears to be the end of the maze, and that garbled child audio from before comes back. As the player continues toward the back wall, we see it kind of looks like they're coming up to the end. Then we see another small light from the right-hand side corner light up, revealing a second path lit by a thinner, flickering yellow light. The scene then gets distorted, and the player's movement starts getting really slow and erratic, almost like he's drunk or something. It's very disorienting. Then upon reaching the end of this path, the setting transitions sharply to a purely black and white kind of pastiche of flickering lights and blurry patterns. There's a long passageway that seems to continue to build on itself, playing on that classic nightmare trope of running in an endless hallway, which is, where I really, really kind of thought that. The player's movement slows down as the audio cuts in at 7.5 minutes in with some super slowed down music.
Okay. Yeah. Real Inception soundtrack vibes there.
Mm-hmm. And then that transitions to audio file 4, which is more slowed down, but then it kind of transitions into like this talking that resembles growling.
It's really good ambient sound.
It's great ambient sound.
I hate this.
Yeah.
I hate all of this.
This is rad.
Matt, I specifically recommend that you go and watch these videos.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good.
Yeah.
Good creepypasta.
All types of my shit.
So that growling gets louder and louder. Meanwhile, the player is like not moving, and the image at this point is completely frozen. So that growling gets louder and louder, and then cuts out entirely. And then after a few seconds of silence, we hear another super distorted sound of somebody talking. It's a little bit different than the grumbling. This is just like somebody talking in a pitched up voice.
Oh yeah, there's a good horror compressor in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The player then starts running like in a full-off sprint through this black and white colored hallway, and now it kind of looks like, speaking of the negative zone, it looks very much like a photo negative at this point, and the walls are like pulsating. We hear that distorted voice screaming in the background. Antlerman shows back up.
Baby.
Antlerman comes back at 10 minutes and 44 seconds.
The villain of this story.
Yeah. And then the footage and the audio slows down and is like to like a very slow, almost complete stop. Transition, hard cut, smash cut. The last bit of the video is the player finds themselves in another hallway. This time it's like you can barely see the walls. You see these kind of like circle patterns on the walls, and there's a point where the player zooms in and you can see like dried blood on the walls, because of course you can. My favorite part of the video, at 11 minutes and 29 seconds, an image of Jimmy Savile and Margaret Thatcher appears.
What?
Okay. Two known UK villains, in IRL villains.
The inclusion of noted political villains makes this oddly related to Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, the second Nick Cage movie.
So
That's all I have to say about that.
So we see this image of notorious pedophile Jimmy Savile standing next to Margaret Thatcher. So this is an old image. This was a promotional image of creating the NSPCC, which was a British organization to prevent child crimes. Jimmy Savile was found to be a pretty notorious pedophile, and Margaret Thatcher's relationship this is intending to show that he was protected by the quote high society for a long time. This image kicks off, like I said, the best part of the video, which is going to be audio track 6, which, Matt, you might get this reference. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, give me a sec. I'm going to listen to it. Oh, is that the Beatles?
Not quite. You're close. So this is Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway. I knew it was one of
the other one.
Zeppelin.
The other one, yeah.
Zeppelin,
So,
I guess, yeah.
So fans of classic stories like Satanic Panic might know that there was a while in the 80s when people were freaking out about classic rock songs being played in reverse and that they were worshiping the devil. I think the most infamous one is the Paul is Dead and some of the other songs, Beatles songs in reverse. Stairway to Heaven also had this, where if you play one of the lines or one of the bridges, or I think it's one of the verses of Stairway to Heaven, it's the Bustle in Your Hedgerow portion of the song.
Yeah.
If you play that backwards, it sounds like Robert Plant is saying something sad Satan.
Man.
What a pull, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it to death. So that's episode 1 of Sad Satan. There are 5 of these, and so this was posted June 25th. After this was posted, of course, so this was like I said at the time, this was up on Creepygaming, our Creepygaming.
Is this related? Is this trying to tie into Pizzagate?
Yes, kind of, and we'll get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't need that.
Oh boy, it keeps going.
Oh, we haven't scratched the surface of the craziness of this story.
We're only on the first napkin.
Yeah, we're only on napkin 2, baby. So naturally, this is, and I would say this is a very well-crafted horror story. We look at a lot of these, and there aren't a lot of these kind of haunted games, quote unquote, that are generally unsettling. This one honestly is it's very good. So naturally this blew up in Creepygaming. People were immediately what's this reference? What's that reference? Trying to figure out what the story is. This was also in 2015. This was the height of the Five Nights at Freddy's. We're going to figure out, so there's a lot of cross pollination here. So Obscure Horror Corner published part 2 on June 27th, which has more incomprehensible hallways, more audio cuts, all of the same stuff that you want. There is, I should note, I was watching this morning, and this is where I had to take a break. So there's a point where you come across a second figure in the maze, which is very unsettling for itself because you think you're alone until this point.
Mm-hmm.
Upon further investigation, you see this figure. You walk up to it and you see that it looks like a child, and but they're hunched over, and the guy, the player, gets closer and closer and eventually looks into its face, and you see this monstrosity that I've just posted in our Google Doc, which is for the people who aren't looking at this image, looks very much imagine a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time era polygonal character, but all of the weird jagged polygons and kind of again incomprehensible shapes that you would see with a that era polygon. That's what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
It looks like they sent one of those, like a low polygon image like that, through the like Google neural net.
The deep dream.
The deep dream. Yes. Thank you.
It does.
That's really good.
What are the oh god, the really scary enemies from Ocarina?
Redeads.
The Redeads. Yes, it looks like a black and white deep dream of a Redead.
And much like the Redead, after a few seconds, there is just a blood-curdling scream,
Ugh.
and it's like 10 times as loud as anything else. And that, like, I was like, holy shit!
No.
Just like
They
at 9:30 this morning.
early 2000s car commercialed you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
pretty wild. So naturally, as you can imagine, people really were just taken to the web and trying to figure out the deeper meaning behind this. Also, naturally, as these things tend to do, the Reddit drama started to begin.
Oh,
So-
of course.
As it does. So you've got one half of the subreddits trying to figure out the deeper meaning. The other half of the subreddits trying to, we'll say, cross-check this guy. He's like, is this real? Did he actually like find this in the deep web? Which, whatever.
Yeah.
So
As the internet is wont to do.
as you know, is want to do. Now, this probably would have just kind of been kept contained in the Reddit community. But actually, a few days later, this whole thing exploded because Kotaku actually ran an article about Sad Satan.
Oh.
Of
Damn.
course they did.
And it was very well researched, a lot of good, interesting information. That's where I found this originally. It was Patricia Hernandez, who I think is still writing for them, but she's really great journalist. So Kotaku's article included a breakdown of the first two videos, but also the writer interviewed Jamie to basically to ask about and confirm all of the claims, and he reiterated like, "Yep, I've got this link, yada yada yada, found this, whatever." By the time that the Kotaku article came out, videos 3, 4, and 5 were already posted. So by July 4th, video of 5 had been up by that point. Also, by the time that the Kotaku article dropped, there had been some additional evidence suggesting that Jamie, in fact, did not find this and made it himself. The most damning piece of evidence was somebody it's actually on 4chan, posted that the link that Jamie provided is like, here's the evidence, right? The link that Jamie provided contained a 9, which like apparently onion links don't contain a 9. I don't know.
Interesting.
Okay.
Basically means
amazing.
that link is impossible. So
Sure.
Kotaku then actually doubled back, and after the article was printed or published an errata saying, we asked Jamie about this claim. Jamie said, I intentionally posted that link as a false link.
Well, of course he did.
Yes. Classic.
Now, the reason why, though, is a little wild. So he said, I posted this as a false link because I didn't want people to have the real link, because the real link also included some pretty bad shit, including disturbing images of gore and child pornography.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, episodes 3, 4, and 5 were released. I'm not going to get into those, but you can go, look them up. They still exist. Actually, 5 got taken down a couple months ago, but that's a whole other thing. So 3, 4, and 5 feature more references to other historical serial killers and other similar events. There's a part where you just hear like a slowed down version of Charles Manson, one of the Charles Manson tapes playing like for 3 minutes.
Oh boy.
Sure.
Video 4 starts with an image of the Otaku Killer, which is a notorious serial killer out of Japan. And then it like features like with his X's over his eyes. And there's some other things. The game ends, quote unquote, with the player being chased by more of those little child figures. And basically like the little girl just chases you until you die. And then the game ends. So not unlike Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty standard survival horror game.
Mm-hmm. So basically, as of the July 7th errata, that when Kotaku posted that, it was basically we are at the point where, well, we don't know if this guy made it or not. maybe he found it on the deep web. Maybe he just made like a really interesting story. Like who, at the end of the day, like who really cares, right?
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, where this gets even wilder is that after that errata, the supposed user that originally sent Jamie the link, calling themselves ZK, posted or leaked the actual version on 4chan. And so it was like, this is the real version. That coward took out all the stuff that he didn't want you to see. So when that link came out, obviously like this thing had a fan base now. People just like flocked to it. And the game, like as promised, was different. It looked very similar, but it was missing some things. More importantly, it included some pretty bad stuff, i.e. gore and child pornography.
Sure.
A bunch of people that accessed that link had unwittingly basically just downloaded illegal shit and committed a crime. Also, a lot of the people that had accessed that link and were playing the game had reported that their computer basically like stopped working. So there was also some pretty bad malware attached to it, because of course there was.
Which, who is surprised?
Yeah. I think the most kind of like really unnerving part about this is that a bunch of Twitch streamers were tricked into playing this version of the game because of the internet, and like
of course,
all of them.
So they all showed some illegal things on their stream to their thousands, if not millions of viewers,
which is really bad. Which is really really
super
bad.
terrible.
And,
super not good.
So Jamie all the while was blamed for this clone game that was out there, and just continually went on record saying like he had nothing to do with it. This was like someone's trying to frame me, blah blah blah. His channel was abandoned. He didn't post anything after episode 5 of Sad Satan, and still hasn't 6 years later.
Damn.
So yeah. So that channel has been basically abandoned. You can go and watch all the videos except for, I think episode 5 got content ID'd a couple months ago after YouTube's latest algorithm change. But you can go and watch episodes 1 through 4. They're really cool. I mean, if you like unsettling, found footage game stuff like that, I think this is like a masterclass in that. I'll just say, it's funny, even since that clone was released, like that's gone. You cannot access it. The subreddit r sad satan was created a couple days after this thing exploded from Creepy Gaming, and is still alive and well today. And there are tons of people still talking about Sad Satan. What does it mean? Someone took that clone and created a quote clean version of the clone game. So there's like Jamie's version and the clone version, the clean clone version, which is a hard thing to say. But at the end of the day, the source of Sad Satan is still a mystery. Nobody really knows, who made it, where it came from. Did Jamie make the game? Did Jamie make both? Did Jamie make the game and the troll? One could suppose that like it wasn't a lot of effort to create the clone, so it's probably pretty easy to have replicated. But also, like, why would you?
The whole thing sounds like a weird attempt at a like real life Black Mirror episode. Like, let's see if we can get millions of Twitch viewers to watch illegal stuff on Twitch. Wasn't that hilarious?
I mean, it's quite the troll. I mean, it's terrible, absolutely terrible. But
sure.
It's like, if that was your intention, great job, I guess.
You did the thing.
You did the thing. So, but if you're interested in Sad Satan, I definitely recommend going to the subreddit r Sad Satan. You can see the links, you can see the YouTube videos, but you can also dive into that community and find out what it means. To your earlier question, Kyle, the assumption is that Jamie was trying to create a narrative like a Pizzagate, where it's like, look at all of these terrible things that society has allowed to have happen, yada yada yada.
Right.
Sure.
So yeah,
okay.
That's Sad Satan.
That is Sad Satan. Okay. Well, on that dour note, we are going to leave the Creepypasta Depot for the year and take the Spooktacular Express back to the station. So thank you all for joining us on this leg of the Spooktacular Express. You can follow along with the arguments on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at DebateThisCast, or on our website at debatethiscast.com.
Also, we have a Patreon. We've just updated some of our tiers. We would love for you guys to join the ranks of Buttwomp Nation at either the $5, $10, or $25 level. At $5, you get access to the Debate This premium feed, which includes the monthly adventures of the Office Drones. At $10, you will get extra extended episodes of Debate This, and also access to our hallowed Google Notes, including all of the images that I shared with you today. And finally, at $25, you will have access after 3 months to commission your very own flavor text, which of course is the episode or the series of episodes where we talk about literally anything, any type of lore you want. So check that out at patreon.com/debatethiscast.
Until next time, I'm Kyle Harper.
I'm Matt. We live in a society. Cole.
I'm Todd. The year of Luigi also brought us Blurred Line and Robin Thicke. Thomas.
Wow.
And I'm Andrew, Wes Anderson's The Royal Abaddon Tenebrae Henderson.
We're saying thanks for debating with us, and if you think we're wrong, you can come and fight us behind the spooky swing set, nerds.